Hello, hello, hello. It just hit 2 o'clock over here. I have a lot of shadows. You guys make sure that I'm okay. I'm gonna wait for everybody to join me. I am live on Elizabeth Craft Designs. I'm looking to see, are we going live? Are you there? I know it takes a minute. Okay, I'm seeing some names. Okay, cool. Awesome. Hi, Kathy. Okay, so I'm trying, you have to kind of bear with me. I haven't done a live in a little bit. I am trying to see the comments over here on the side on my iPad. And so far, I'm behind. So I'm going to look at my phone, have to get way up on my tippy toes. And I see a lot of people saying hi and welcoming me and watching. Okay, looks like we're getting there. Awesome. All right, so hi everybody. I'm Annette Green. If you don't know who I am on the Elizabeth Craft Designs design team, but mostly I'm on the planner side of things. I do love to play with the flowers and all the other dies that they carry. And so I was invited today to come on and do a little something with the flowers. But tricked ya, it's not going to be flowers at all. It's going to be little succulents. So I hope that you can see this. I can't really tilt it because there's little rocks in there. We're going to make a couple of cute little things using the flower dies to make them look like little succulent plants. And I promised that I was going to stick with the flower dies that are now available. I did end up using one die, and I'll tell you about all the dies that I use, but I did end up using one that isn't available right now, but hopefully will be very, very soon. Okay, I am trying to figure out how to watch your comments. I'm looking over here on my iPad, and I'm not finding y'all. And I really want to look at the questions that you may have and answer you and say things back and forth. So let's see if it'll just catch up with me eventually here. How's everybody doing? Everybody doing okay? Wonderful. Okay. Well, thank you for joining me. I don't want to forget to say to like, comment, and share, of course, this live video. And if you do, you get entered into the drawing for the $50 gift certificate with Elizabeth Crafts, which would be awesome, right? I do want to announce our winner from Wednesday's live, and that was Lillian Valley Schultz. So congrats to Lillian. She is our winner from Wednesday. Still working on trying to see your comments. Oh, there we go. Wow, I'm really delayed over here. Let's see. Oh, I got you now, kids. I got you. Okay, awesome. So I will try to catch up and see if I can go back and see who's here. Okay, awesome. Yes, congrats to Lillian. That's wonderful. Sharon is here. Excited to see what you're going to create. Okay, cool. Hello from New Hampshire. Yeah, I would love to know where you guys are all from too, if you can let me know that. I'm in Greenville, South Carolina, specifically downtown Greenville. So if you've ever been to downtown Greenville, please let me know. We love it here. We have just moved from Florida after 20 years in the same house. And now we live in a little apartment, 2-bedroom apartment. We've downsized quite a bit, and it is awesome. Totally awesome. Having less stuff and having more time to be outdoors. And of course, I have my craft room here. I am spoiled after all, but yeah. Okay, we have people from Belgium and the UK. And hello from Northumberland, UK, Hudson, Colorado. Hello, welcome. Wonderful. I'm from the Netherlands. Well, welcome. So it must be, I think it's what, 6 hours later in the Netherlands than it is here in South Carolina. My friend, there's Karen Gerber. Hello. Terry, hi. I hear a train. Yes, you do hear a train. Robin's from Southern California. Yes, I have a friend that is also a neighbor, a new friend of mine here, and her name is Johanna, and she is from the Netherlands, and we hang out all the time. We go walking. She's really the only friend that I've had during COVID since we moved here because, you know, you don't want to associate too much with too many people. So she's been a very special friend for me. And I get to learn a lot about her culture and the Dutch and so forth. Oh, and now you're going to hear a siren. Sorry about that. Okay, so it looks like we have a lot of people here. Louisville, Kentucky, Netherlands again. Awesome. Did you make the beautiful green book about moving? Yes, I did. That was me. Okay, I think we should get started because we have a lot of people. I'm just excited to see all you all coming in like this. Thank you so much. Illinois, Vancouver. Oh, awesome. Okay, so you see we have some pots here. I went to the craft store and I got some little pots. I had this idea in my head to transform the flower dyes into succulents. So you can see this is the smallest little size that I bought here. And we'll talk all about, you know, what's inside of there and how I did it and all that stuff. But let's get started. Let's make one. And I'm going to start with the easiest one first. And that is with the dye that you can't get right now. So I'm very sorry. Floral 7. So I just wanted to show you real quick because it's the easiest one, and eventually when you get Floral 7 you're going to want to try this because it's super duper easy. So you see all the dyes that are in that set, and I have used all of the flower ones, none of the leaves or the circles. Okay, and of course we know whenever we're die cutting things and making flowers, you can use the soft finish white, which I do on some of these samples. You could use cardstock, you could use watercolor paper. In this particular instance, I did use cardstock. It's colored on both sides. It's halfway ready to go that way. And when you're doing the sample that I'm gonna do, which is this little one here, you need to have 2 die cut of each of the sizes of the flowers. So 2, 2, 2, 2, and then this little guy that looks kind of like he looks more like a starburst than a flower. You just need one of those. Okay, so now that you've seen that, there's Diane Barnett. Hi, Diane. I just read your email. Oh my gosh, you put it in a pot. Yes, I did. I hope you love it. Okay, awesome. So that particular flower, I'm going to make it just how it looks here. Not flower, succulent. That was made with like a light blue cardstock that I had in my stash. You know, you could certainly use the soft finish and grab your speckled egg distress ink and get the same effect. But for this one, I just want to show you quickly that you can use regular cardstock. And I'm going to grab a burgundy colored ink. My little plant looks real. Looks so real. Oh, thank you. Well, that's kind of the goal, you know? So anyway, I'm going to take my biggest flower, and just like we know we do, we're going to ink a little bit to add some color. I'm using, like I said, a burgundy kind of colored ink, wine color, let's say. And I'm just kind of catching the tips. And incidentally, what I try to do oftentimes when I'm making the flowers or the succulents or anything is I go to Google and I do a little search, and I'll print out a little page. So I have my little samples right in front of me. This is not my creation. I have seen this done before. I'm just putting my own little twist on it. So, what cardstock is that? This is a light blue, and it's from close to my heart. So I don't even know the name of it anymore. So I am going to put a little bit of color in the center, even though we're not going to see a lot of that. I'm just going to kind of stroke some out from the center just a little bit. Hello from the UK. Hello. Great idea, says Grace. Thank you, Grace. All right, and then the back, I'm going to go pretty heavy-handed. I'm really going to go dark. And I'm just going to catch, you know, like the top part of these petals, because you're not going to see a lot of that base. But when these curl up, you are going to see the bottom side. I'm working on a glass mat here, which is great because any residual ink that you have on the mat can be used. Whereas if you did it on paper, then it's just sort of wasted. So I have it nice and dark on the back and looking like that on the front. Okay, now before we clean this up, I'm going to mush a little more ink on here. And I already know what I'm going to do here in a second, so I'm also going to add some purple. This is Wilted Violet Distress Ink. Okay. And I'm just kind of sharing this because, you know, a lot of times you have this puddle of ink and it's wasted. You just wipe it up and then it's gone. But you should certainly take advantage of that. And we're going to use this later. I'll talk about it and what dye it is and everything. But I'm just going to dip that in there. And you could do this with any, if you have any white flowers already die cut sitting around, like you don't know what to do with them yet. Definitely take advantage of this extra ink here. And I'm being real messy and just letting it get all over there and be blotchy and multicolored because you'll see why later. So I'll set that on a paper towel over here to dry. And I'll do another one real quick since I have more ink. This one, when you see it later, you'll see it doesn't resemble anything real at all. It was sort of my own little creation. But it looked kind of cool. I was happy with it. Get a little more purple going in here, because I've already done some of these earlier, and they have a little bit more purple in them. So I know I have a goal here. Okay. So when you're done with that, of course, then you can clean up your extra. All right, and then we'll get back to that later. Now we're going to just show you how to shape to make this look like a succulent. So normally in a flower situation, we would put it face down on our mat and start stirring from the back side. But this one, we're just going to do it strictly from the front side. And all I'm doing is taking that large ball stylus. If you have a little spoon, I've seen Els use like a little spoon. I have this little Nouveau tool that you pick up little gems with and stuff. You could use that to stroke it on the smooth side of the spoon. But I'm going to use the large ball stylus. This is just an old one I had for a long time from Sidekick. And I'm just going to start pulling from the outside to the center and letting that really curl up. So while you watch me do this, I will tell you that if you like the flower dyes as much as I do, and I know a lot of you do, and you haven't seen it yet, I have made a YouTube video on my channel. It's called something like How to Make Beautiful Paper Flowers and More. So I went through, it's about 45 minutes long, and I demonstrated all different ways to make flowers, different papers you can use, different techniques you can try. And so Els wanted to make sure that I mentioned that in this video, and perhaps Anna will put the link, and if she doesn't, then I will at the end. But that's another good one to check out if you're really interested in the flower making. Okay, so that looks like a big old balled up mess, right? And so I'm just going to let that one be. But yeah, you want to curl it up pretty tight like that. And then you'll do the same thing with all the rest of these. Now I see I didn't color the centers of these, so maybe I didn't do that with my original. And it doesn't matter because they're all going to get glued together. So again, we'll put these in order. 2 big ones, 2 next size, 2 more, 2 of the little guys, and then 1 of the little tiny guys. All right, let me check on the comments here, see what everybody's saying. I'll have to check that out. Yes, please do. Please check it out. It's been a very popular video. It's been very well received. So I'm always happy to see that. All right, my glue of choice for doing flowers. I know some people use hot glue, which is great, but honestly, I'm a little clumsy with the hot glue and I tend to burn myself and then I say really bad words. So I didn't want to do that to you guys today. So I am using just good old, like a thick, ultra thick, tacky, super thick tacky glue. It grabs pretty darn quick. It doesn't burn me. And it dries clear. And I don't use a lot, so it doesn't take long. So you can see I'm just kind of tucking these guys all down in here. You give them a little spin when they get in there so they're kind of staggered. I mean, this one couldn't be simpler, right? It looks like somebody put the link to the video. Yeah, Karen, I know you like hot glue. I watched you the other day. You were so confident with that hot glue. Yeah, and I should probably get low temp, but I have 2 glue guns and they're both high temp, so I don't want to go get another glue gun. I'd rather just be a chicken, do it this way. All right, are we seeing this okay? I mean, this is about as simple as it gets here. And you can see I'm using these wonderful little tweezers from Elizabeth Crafts. It's great for when you're trying to reach down in there. All right. So now, I mean, once the glue really dries, that's the time to get in there and spread them open a little bit and fan them out. Right now, I'm just going to let that sit and dry, but you get the idea, right? Super easy. Yes. Brooke says, thank you, Annette, for doing that very informative video. Okay. Well, you're welcome. Thank you for watching it. Yeah, it was fun. And just so you know, with all these little pots, I put some, I had Sculpey clay. You can see this one. We'll talk about this in a minute. It's just a white clay. It's all I had. You could really use floral foam, that stuff, or Oasis, or whatever they call that, or any other kind of inexpensive clay. I just happened to have some Sculpey, like left over. So I stuck that down in the bottom so that the little pot was heavier. And then I actually hot glued, yes, hot glue. I hot glued the little rocks, which I bought a big old bag of rocks from the craft store. Okay, so that was the easiest one. So now let's make one that looks kind of like these guys. Okay, and the die that I used for this was Florals 3. Yes, indeed. Okay, so Florals 3. And also, in the center, I used the teeny tiny little flower daisy thing from the strawberries set. That one was kind of needed at the end for this one. Before I go further, I just want to remind to like, comment, and share the video while you're watching live so that you can be entered in the $50 gift certificate. Our winner from Wednesdays was Lillian Valley Schultz. So congrats to her once again. I hope she's here watching. I haven't been watching to see if she got excited here. Adore the strawberry set. So do I, Belinda. Yeah, and I showed how to make like really realistic strawberries in that flower video that I was talking about earlier. So anyway, let's get back to this guy. I have done a little prep work on the other petals, but I'm going to show you how to do one. This time I am going to start with the soft finish white cardstock. I go to the 90 pound. There's the 110 pound. Absolutely great as well. I just tend to use the 90 pound. It's a little easier for me to manipulate when I'm doing flowers and things. But the other one, the thicker one, is great as well for other purposes. Okay, I see people are sharing and they're telling what sets that I've used. Wonderful. Okay, great. Lots of people are jumping in now. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining me. All right, so this time I'm going to use oxide ink, Distress Oxide, and I'm going to use a couple different colors, and I'm going to use my little soft brush here. So checking the time, we're doing good. I'm just going to take a little Twisted Citron for this one. And this brush is great because it's super duper soft bristles. I love these. And the oxides are so creamy. They just blend super nice. I've experimented so much in the last 4 or 5 days with different inks and with water and without water and all that. So I've learned a lot. And that's the only way you can learn, you know? You just gotta try things. So you saw I put that Twisted Citron over the entire front of the flower. And now I'm coming back in with peeled paint. And again, these are Distress Oxides. And I changed my brush here to a different green color. And I don't want to get right in that ink too much. See, you could spray that, you could dip something in that. I'm gonna waste it and wipe it away. But I'm just coming in maybe about halfway from the outside edge with peeled paint. All right, you can see how we're starting to get some real dimension here. And of course, if you want it darker, you just add more and give it a little more pressure. All right, and then lastly, I'm going to take a little fingertip style dauber. And I'm going to get some Rustic Wilderness, which is their newest green color from Ranger, the Distress Oxides. And I'm just sort of tapping this on that outside edge, just getting that little bit of the outer edge. I'm not really going to blend in very far. I'm just tapping it. And then to get those edges, I just kind of fold back and sweep while it's bent away. And you see that little blotch there? I'm going to show you how to fix something like that if you don't like that. So much of this gets covered up or kind of disguised when you go to assemble the flower, but you know, if it bothered you to see that blotch there, you can always go back over. That's the beauty of the oxides, is you can blend it out with the color that you used before. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now these are some that I've already done, and I see I have added some ink to the center. So let me do that. And it does look like I added a little bit more of a heavy hand with that peeled paint. So let me get in there. Make it a little more green, a little less yellow. And just tap a little bit of that darkest green in the center. Okay, if you have a brush for each oxide, if not, how do you clean them? Oh, that's a great question. I actually do have a brush for, you know, like one for all the yellows, one for all the, well, the different shades of green. I might have 2. So I don't wash them. But if I did, I would just take them to the sink with warm soapy water and wash them out. Okay, the last thing that I want to do here, I hate to waste that, but just for the sake of today, I'm gonna wipe that away. The last thing I'm gonna do is, and this can be oxides or any type of ink, is I'm gonna darken up the backside pretty heavily. And so I'm just using the same color green, but in just regular Distress. Because this doesn't have to blend, it doesn't have to look creamy like the front. Big difference in that look than that. This looks a lot more smooth and creamy. Okay, and the reason we do that on the back, of course, is because when you start to curl, you do end up seeing a little bit of the sides and when they flip up. So you can see I didn't on this one, and if it were curled in such a way and you saw it from the side, you'd see white. So we don't want to see that. We want it to be green. Hi from near Austin. Austin, Texas. Oh, I hope you're away from all those problems. Is anybody here from that area? My goodness, I've been thinking about what on earth would you do without power in the freezing cold like that? That would be terrible. I just can't even imagine. So I hope that if you're in Texas and you're able to watch, that you're doing okay. All right, so I'm going to take that flower this time, and I'm going to do the same thing that we did before. Now, because this is oxides and they're a little creamy, they have a, oh, look at how dirty my fingers are. They have a little longer drying time. So, you know, for the sake of the video, I'm going to do this, but sometimes I'll just set them aside and walk away for a little bit and let them kind of dry. That ink is a little creamy. It's almost like a pigment ink. So I'm going to put the heat tool on it for just a second. I'll do it off to the side so you don't hear too much of that noise, and I'll look at the comments. Hello from Australia. Hello. Someone asked about snow here. Are you boiling snow? Am I boiling snow? I'm so new to the area. I didn't think it snowed here. I mean, the locals in Greenville had told us before we moved here, oh, it hardly ever snows. You know, if you're lucky, it might snow 1 or 2 days out of the year, if at all. Well, we had snow last week or a week and a half ago. I was so thrilled. You know, I'm a Florida girl, and we haven't been here since the 1st of May, right in the middle of COVID. We sold our house and all that. So to see snow for the first time here, that was pretty cool. We were pretty excited. All right, so you can see I'm doing the same thing. I am stirring and getting a nice cup shape on all those petals. See, it's because it's oxides and it's not quite dry. It wants to kind of skid around instead of slide. So just take your time if you're going to do this and let those dry fully. Okay, now normally, like the other one, we would stop there, but I'm going to take one more step to this, and I'm going to get in there with, these are reverse tweezers. I don't know if a lot of you have them or not. They were in the old Elizabeth Crafts toolkit that they used to sell. So I'm getting in there, and I'm kind of going across to the petal that I want to pinch right through the middle, and I'm just pinching at the base close to the tweezer point. I'm not going all the way out to the edge of the petal. And there's some glue on my tweezers, and it's stopping me from getting in there good. Okay. All right, so let's do that again. That one was the one I pinched. I'm gonna get in here and go all the way around. These tweezers are nice if you can get reverse tweezers like this, because you can, you know, let go of them and they're pinching it. And when you're doing things like pinching the petal, you don't have to squeeze the tweezer to hold on. It just holds on. So they're pretty nice. If you didn't have these reverse tweezers, you could take like a small scoring tool, like a scoring stylus, and you could score a little line about halfway up the petal and then just pinch and fold on your score line. That would work. So there's that, looking cute. And then I'm gonna give it a little press and stir one more time. And there we go. So I did 2 of the largest flower, and I did 1 of the next 2 sizes. And then, like I said, I die cut one of the smallest little daisy kind of flower from the strawberry set. And so I've colored all those. I've colored them all on the back. I've shaped them all in that same way. And now it's just like before. We're just going to start gluing everybody together. And I'm not gonna press really hard. I want it to kind of, I don't want to flatten out any of those petals that I've just shaped. So as I'm going up, I'm trying to make sure that they're tightening a little bit. Okay, and then my very last guy I didn't shape yet, so let's do that real quick. Look over at the comments here. You make it look so easy. Well, it is easy. It's not hard. It's just, you know, getting comfortable with your tools, knowing which tools to use. You know, I'm inspired by a lot of you guys. It's not all me. And you want to watch somebody make some beautiful flowers. That's Karen Gerber. And Anita, of course. She developed all these beautiful flowers. And Anita, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I said that the, in my flower video, I said that the strawberry dye was by Yosette. And it was not. It's by you. Okay, well, that's it. So here's the difference, right? So these two right here, can you see them? They're so far away. They look so far away. But these two were done that same way. And this one that looks a lot fuller, it's going to look not very pretty from the back. But what I did is I cut one more, maybe two more of the largest flower, and then I cut apart the petals, shaped them, and then glued them so that they're not, you know, the center wasn't here anymore. I pulled them out a little further. And so that way you can make it look a little larger and fuller around the outside edge if you want. But, I mean, I'm happy with that. I think that's pretty cute. Okay. Thank you, Karen. They are adorable. I'm so glad you like them. All right, so that is our second style of succulent. And then I'm going to show you a third one. And hopefully we'll have time. Yeah, it looks like we're going to have plenty of time. I want to show you some things I did with some leaves as well and some other ideas that I had. So don't forget, again, if you're jumping in a little bit late, to like, comment, and share while you are watching live. And that way you'll be entered into the $50 gift certificate prize. And again, Lillian Valley Schultz was our winner from Wednesday's live. So congrats to Lillian. Let's see. Let's start on the third one, and that is this little guy. So there's a couple things going on here. I haven't hot glued these little rocks, some of these, but we're going to make this little thing, and then I'll show you these guys too. So this set that I used this time is 1802 stamen flowers. All right, and that is strictly what I used. And remember when I was dipping these guys over here into the colors? Well, this is what we're going to start to use now. So I've done a bunch of them. They have lightened up quite a bit, I see, from, you know, from drying. But I did, let's see, there's two large starbursty kind of things in there, and then two a size smaller. So I did 3 of each for just one of those little stalks, okay? Incidentally, I have used some, this is that floral wire to make your own flowers from the craft store. It's a pretty thin one. I wanted to make sure it was kind of pliable, not too stiff. So I'm going to cut off just like a, I don't know, 5-inch piece here. And I'm going to grab a little, these are all like jewelry tools. I'm just going to roll this tip around, and I'm just getting this ready to make our little flower. But I just, can you tell, can you see that? There's a little loopy-doop on the end now. Okay, so we're going to build our flower onto that. And I did do this one with hot glue when I was doing it, so wish me luck with the regular glue. We'll see what happens. All right, so I'm going to start with some of these large ones. And, you know, it really doesn't matter. I would say whichever side you like the best is the side that you want to put face down when you're doing your stirring. And that's what I'm going to do. And, you know, if they bend over on each other and get all messed up, that's even better, honestly, because this is all going to get squished up really tight into like a, I mean, I really just kind of made this one up myself. It doesn't really exist for real, so I'm just winging it with my, we'll call this the Annette succulent. I don't know. All right, so you saw that I cupped it up very, very tightly, and then I made just like a half snip into the center, okay? And the reason I do that little half snip is so that now I can get in here with my tweezer, and I can start kind of rolling it around. Twirl, twirl, twirl. And that's a whole different effect than if you try to just, you know, mush this closed. So let's do it that way, and I'll show you the difference. The succulents are beautiful. Can't wait to try. I hope you try them. Super easy. I mean, flowers are great. I love the flowers. And if I have time later, I'll show you some of the samples of the flower stuff that I did in my video. But yeah, so you can see, here we are. We've got this big bulbous bottom. And yes, you could mush that, and that's okay. But I find that it was really much better to make that snip and roll it around. And then that way they all got very tight and close together like that. Plus, when you make that little snip, now you've created a space for which the floral wire can go into. So I made the snip. I put the little tweezer just to the left of the snip and kind of holding on to the rest of those guys, getting them out of my way. I roll this around. This would also be a great, like just a flower stamen. And I know that's what they're intended to do. I just don't know if anybody's ever cut them and twirl them like that. So there's number 2, and so we'll just continue with that, and I'll take a peek at the comments over here. A lot of people joining me. The snip and twist looks best to me. Matt, I agree. I think so too. Thank you. Yeah, you just can't get it quite that tight by just smushing it. You gotta twirl. Kelly's here, Ellie's here, Renata's here, Astrid. Welcome everybody. I said it in the beginning, so if you missed it, I am Annette Green. I am on the design team, mainly for the Planner Essentials line, but I do love all the products, so I share the love. If my name is somewhat familiar and you like Graphic 45 products, that's because I am also a special projects designer for Graphic 45, which is a very fun job because unlike the design team, my job is to design projects that they want to share from the company that people can make. So they'll say to me, hey, Annette, can you take this paper and make a mini album and a box to go in it, or it to go into? And then I just get to take free control of that and do that. And I get paid. So that's kind of nice. I'm watching the comments here. Can't wait to try these techniques. Yeah, super fun. All right, I got 2 more to go over here. I mentioned my friend Johanna from the Netherlands earlier. It's the one friend that I have been able to make here and feel safe to be with, and her husband, they live in the same apartment complex. And so we go to dinner with them, and I walk with her a couple times a week. Okay, well, I just mashed that one, but that's okay. That's okay. So I was asking her this morning because I was listening to Joseph on Monday's live, and Joseph said Yosette, right? Well, I've in my brain, I have always referred to her as Josette because I see the J, and that's the American way, right? So I asked my friend Johanna, I said, hey, have I been calling you Johanna and I should be calling you Johanna? And she said, I like the American way better. So I'm assuming that meant, yes, normally in the Netherlands, the Dutch would call her Johanna. So if I'm wrong and you're out there, you Dutch friends of mine, please correct me. Let me know. Okay, I have done all 6. And now I'm going to grab that little curly Q stick and I'm going to find my glue. I'm just going to use art glitter glue this time, and I'm not going to go like crazy thick with it. I'm just going to put a little bit here on the stem just to get it started. And I'm going to get my first one in there. Got to find that little slit and slide it up there. You might have to undo your little coil to find it. You could also pierce a hole if you wanted to, which I did do on my little trial one, and maybe I should do. Let me do that real quick. I'm gonna take a little piercer. Even though the slit is there, I don't want to fumble during the live, so I'm just gonna make a little hole and get that in there a little quicker. Hopefully not tear it doing this. Ah, the beauty of live. Okay, so I'm just gonna get it up there and start mushing against that glue. My little curly stem is coming up the center there. And you can always get a little more glue in there and start mashing it. But what I have found is each time you go to put some more flowers on there and you get a little more glue on there, you can start to mash that a little bit more. So yeah, even though I just unspun that whole thing, I am going to get a little more glue in here. And now I can see my little slit, and I'm going to get that in there and slide it on up. And you can twirl it back close. This is a little clumsy, y'all, but the finished product is very nice. Oh gosh, we have all the sounds going today. There's a big plane going overhead. First it was a train. Right before the live, it was tree trimming. They're taking down this huge tree across the street. But you know, that's downtown living. I'm curious, do any of y'all live in a downtown setting? I mean, we are like a block away from downtown. And, you know, you have a lot of city noise. We've gotten used to it, of course. We've been here since May. I don't even pay attention to it now. In fact, I wake up when it's quiet now. Like, uh-oh, what's wrong? Nothing's happening. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, it's nice to hear the world outside. Here it just sounds like ice breaking off the roof. Oh my goodness, Belinda. Where are you at, Belinda? Remind me. I would like to know. Yes, don't forget to like, comment, and share as you're watching. And that way you can be entered into the drawing for the $50 gift certificate. All right. You guys are getting the idea, right? It's a little fiddly, but it's really pretty when you're done. And if you can think of a better way, let me know. I think the first time I did it, I actually made all the flowers without the stem. And then I tried to poke through all the flowers at once. Kind of tore it apart a little bit. But I salvaged it and it was fine. Okay. So I would have 2 more to go on there, and rather than struggle and show you how to glue things together one more time, I will just show you the sample again. And you can see how I did 2 there. And they got their little curly Q stems. And you can fold those down. You can actually see where I've kind of torn apart some of that, trying to poke through. But now I want to show you how I did this little bit here, which is super simple, super duper simple. I was actually kind of thinking about it when I was laying in bed one morning, couldn't sleep, and I thought, I wonder if that would work. So it did, and I was happy. So these are these little things, and I don't know if you would call these leaves or buds. I've cut them out of green. I'm gonna find the die over here so I can tell you which one it is. This one, Florals 4. And see these things? So they're buds. They're supposed to be buds of whatever kind of flower that you're making. But I thought that they had kind of a nice shape to look like some sort of succulent. You know, if you put them together and puffed them up a little bit, they looked a little more like they were like a succulent. Puffy, let's say. And because you might see them from both sides, it's worth doing that little sandwich. So I'll show you what I did here. I did a couple. So basically, I started with some ivory colored green cardstock here. And every time I die cut one, I doubled it. So if I picked this one, I cut another one. And I think I made a mistake here as far as inking. Yeah, okay. No. So when I die cut it, I just flip one over before I ink it. So these are both the same die cut. And then before I ink, I just flip one over. Because the eventual goal is to sandwich these together. But before we do that, we want to puff them out and put something in between. So let's do that. I'm just gonna go at the little bud thing with my large ball again. And you know, I don't want it to cup terribly deep, just enough to have a little cupping action there. And then I take the mirror image one and do the same. Lost connection for a bit. Okay, I'm sorry. That happens. Okay, and let's see, I will do that. I started to cup that one, and so its partner would go this way before shaping it. Did I already do that? Yeah, I did this one with ink. So let's do this one. Again, it's the same die cut, just I flip it over before I ink it. All right, so what we're gonna do is take a little bit of dimensional foam. You could substitute and maybe even glue in a little bit of, I don't know, cotton. Did I do this the wrong way? I did. Okay, no worries. I'm just gonna get this one back on the mat here, and I'm gonna fix that, and I'll just have to ink those edges again on the other side. Okay, and so I'm gonna take these two and glue them together. Just relying on the foam tape there, trying to line it up best I can. And so now it has like a little, like a pea pod kind of dimension to it. Little chubby, but not super fat. It's just better than really, really flat, you know? And so then I'll take some of my easy thin glue here and put it on just on the stem. Whoops. There we go. And glue that together. Okay, and so, I mean, it's not sealed completely. You can still kind of see in there a little bit, but gosh, it's pretty cool looking. So I'm going to do that with this one as well. This one has the double. I'm sneaking in on my lunch hour. Hello. Oh, that's Jane. Hey, Jane. Awesome. I won't tell if nobody else does. Okay, so we've got that one. And you guys, I did it again? No, I didn't. I did it all right. So these two are going to go together. I would advise maybe peeling up only one at a time. You see how I keep sticking to my other fingers, right? Okay. All right, there's that. And then again, I'll get some glue in here. Okay, and just glue that shut. Now, if you were going to make like what I made, and I'll show you in just a second, a little cluster of these. Then you would want to get some more of that floral wire. See how these are all kind of clustered like that. Oops. There is a wire on the back of that. I don't know if you can see it down in there, where I just kind of hot glued all of those, arranged in such a way so it made a little kind of arrangement to stick down in there. But I would just basically take all those little guys and maybe make some a little taller, some a little shorter, and glue them to some of that wire, and then you could stick all that down into your jar. So that was the third one. Let me take a peek at the comments and see how we're doing on time. We have 10 more minutes. It's so funny, I'm standing here this whole time, standing up, and my watch just told me, hey, it's time to stand. Like, come on, Apple Watch. Let's see, I missed the beginning. We'll surely watch it over. I hope you do. Okay, these look fabulous, says Jane. Thank you, Jane. I was doing the same thing at South Carolina. These are awesome. Love them. Okay, wonderful, you guys. Thank you so much. Okay, so real quick, we got 10 minutes left. I was going to show you a couple of ideas. Okay, and this is, instead of putting rocks, and these are rocks from, you know, like a little bag from the craft store. And they're tiny rocks, which are kind of nice for this. But sometimes you might not want to do rocks, or you don't have any and you don't want to go to the store. So remember when we used the stamen flower set and you see these little squiggly doos here? So all I did here is I die cut a bunch out of different various colors of browns and tans. I just did a whole bunch of them. And I don't have one here to show you, but I basically just kind of pressed and swirled with the large ball stylus, and I made what looks to me a little bit like moss, right? And so then you could take your little succulent, and then you could hot glue it right on top of there, right? That'd be cute. A couple of other ideas that I had. When I was at the craft store buying the little pots, I saw these little wooden discs, and I thought, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be cute to cover those little wooden discs with some paper? And of course, this is the worn wood from Elizabeth Crafts. Get some of that on there, sand it, and ink the edges, and then you could glue one of your succulents right to it, whichever one you thought looked the best. And then wouldn't it be cute to like use your crocodile and punch a hole in the top and have it dangle, like make a bunch of them, and you could even do them on both sides and make like a little home decor piece. Wouldn't that be fun? Another idea is to use the hexagon die. Elizabeth Crafts has the, what is it called? It is called Fitted Hexagons by Josette, with a Y, not a J. You say it. Anyway, you can make yourself a little dimensional frame from the hexagons, and then you could put your little succulent on there, and you could hang a bunch of those, like almost like a wind chime. I'm picturing. I think that would be so cute, right? Yeah, like a mobile. That's right. Thank you, Brooke. Yeah, so there's another idea. But as you can see, my thought was to get them into little pots. And so one more thing that I was going to share, I showed you this clay in the pot here, and these leaves. These leaves are from another floral set, and that is the Florals 2. That's the ones that look like hydrangeas, which I love. And when I had the ink on the table yesterday and I was mopping up the excess, I stuck some of those on there, and I'm going to do something pretty with those later. But I cut the leaves out of green cardstock like I've been doing, and I ink them. And so I cut a double for each one, and I put a piece of wire between each. And now I have these little stems that I can shape and bend, and I can stick them down into my foam there, and I can fill this with rocks, and then I can put some more succulents on top, like a little, what's it called, like a, I want to say a terrarium, but I don't think that's what it's called when you just cluster a bunch of plants into one pot. I think that has a different name. You guys can tell me. But I'm going to fill this up, the remainder, with some rocks. And, you know, maybe those aren't succulents, but by the time you put in the succulents, they almost look like they could be like a aloe vera leaf maybe or something. So you can play around, come up with your own ideas. Okay, and so I could hot glue some of these in here. I could stick with all the same color. I could put different colors, different sizes. I think that would be pretty sweet. That would be a nice little, like a hostess gift if you went to somebody's house for dinner, to bring that over and say, I made that with my own hands. Wouldn't that be cute? All right, guys, I have 5 more minutes. I'm going to take a look at the comments, and then I will grab some of these flower samples that we were talking about from my video. They almost resemble little trees if you want to use a bunny or such. Oh my gosh, what a great idea. Oh yeah, I mean, gosh, the opportunities, the ideas, they're just endless. And I told Els, it's so hard to stop, and she agrees, and anybody else that plays with these things, you guys know, once you get going, it's like, ooh, I could do this, I could do that. But I will bring in, just to fill the rest of my time, some of the flower projects that I shared in that flower video. Lots of tips and how-tos and little tricks that I do. There's that. And then I had a lot of cards and things that I have apparently tucked away into when I need a card situation, into that box. So there's a few of those. So make sure you check that out. Yes, it is hard to stop. Absolutely. Okay, so Robin had a magnet idea, so I'm going to have to look back at the comments to see what that was. Yes, thank you guys very much for joining me and for being patient with me at the beginning when I couldn't see the comments. I will definitely go back and see if there's anything I need to answer, and I'll respond directly to your comments. Looks like my time is wrapping up. I do have a few more minutes, but I am going to say goodbye for now. I don't see any questions coming across, so thank you guys again for joining me, and hopefully I'll be back in the future with another Facebook Live with Elizabeth Crafts. I'd love to come back. So thank you guys so much. Bye-bye.